Hey, what's up, guys? Thanks for tuning into the Grappling Central podcast. Before I kick this episode off, I wanted to make a very quick announcement. If you guys are enjoying the show and you're looking for some ways to support us, I have two very easy ways to do it. First and foremost, we are officially launching our store on grapplingcentral.com. We're going to have t-shirts, hats, stickers, patches, and also ebooks to help you along the way in your journey. So just go to grapplingcentral.com and click store in the menu. The second way that you can support the podcast is we are officially an Amazon.com affiliate now. So if you're going to do your shopping on Amazon anyway, instead of going to Amazon.com, go to grapplingcentral.com, scroll down, click the Amazon image on our page, and then it'll take you to Amazon where you can then do your shopping and they'll give us a little bit of commission for sending you their way. Please note that you have to make a purchase within 24 hours of clicking that link, otherwise we won't get credit for it. So if you choose either of those options to show your support, we'd really appreciate it. It just kind of helps us pay some of the bills and fees that we pay every month to run the podcast and bring it to you guys twice a week. And I won't hold you guys up any further. I hope you enjoy this episode. This episode of the Grappling Central podcast is brought to you by Kettlebell Kings, the leading online source for kettlebells with free shipping to the continental United States and Canada. Check them out at kettlebellkings.com. This episode of the Grappling Central podcast has been brought to you by the BJJBox.com, the premier subscription box service in the jiu-jitsu community that brings tons of valuable products directly to your doorstep every month to help you along the way in your training. Go to the BJJBox.com and use the coupon code GCP20 to get 20% off your first box. That's the BJJBox.com. And this episode of the Grappling Central podcast is also brought to you by Leao Optics, handmade bamboo sunglasses crafted with the BJJ style. Check them out at leaooptics.com and be sure to use the coupon code GRAPPLING15 to get 15% off your order. That's leaooptics.com. And last but not least, this episode is also brought to you by BJJEE.com, the #1 online source for BJJ news and insightful articles about the BJJ lifestyle. Check them out at BJJEE.com. Also, if you'd like a chance to win free prizes and swag every month, be sure to go to grapplingcentral.com and sign up for our newsletter. Once you do that, you'll automatically be entered for a chance to win prizes each and every month. This month, we're giving away a free random jiu-jitsu DVD. It could be an instructional DVD, it could be a DVD of past events or highlights of a particular fighter. You never know which one you're going to get. It's completely random. Go to grapplingcentral.com, sign up for the newsletter for your chance to win. And as always, if you're listening on iTunes, we would really appreciate a 5-star review. Also, you can follow us on social media. Our Facebook is facebook.com/grapplingcentral. Our Instagram is grappling_central. And we're also on Twitter at the GC Podcast. And without any further ado, I hope you guys enjoy this episode. Welcome back to the Grappling Central podcast. I'm Ryan Ford. My guest today is a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He is a black belt no-gi Pan Am's champion. He is a New York Open no-gi champion, a pro BJJ Tour champion, a veteran of EBI. He's also the Kakudo Submission Challenge heavyweight champion and a professional MMA fighter and a veteran of Bellator. In fact, he holds the record for fastest submission in Bellator. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to be joined today by my friend Aaron Tex Johnson. How are you today, Tex?
Great, how are you? Thanks.
I'm good, buddy. Thanks for taking time with me. You're up in New Jersey right now, am I correct? How's everything going up there?
It's hot. Living in New Jersey and training in Manhattan, New York at Unity BJJ, Unity Jiu-Jitsu under Marilla Santana.
That's awesome, man. Now, Tex, you and I know each other. You were one of my old teammates, and you've been around the Atlanta scene for a long time. But for the people that don't know you, tell us about where you're from originally and how you got into martial arts initially.
I was born in Ohio. I'm kind of an Army brat, so I moved a lot as a kid. How I got into martial arts was actually my dad and my mom and my brother all trained Taekwondo in the beginning. When I was about 8, I think, I got my deputy black belt in that. And then for some reason, martial arts kept calling back to me to come back, so I found Knuckle Up Douglasville when it first opened. So I bought myself a membership when I was, I think, 21, and started training with Carlos Farias and Steve Mitchell. And then Steve Hedden came along, and I was going to fight Muay Thai beginning, and then I was fighting Muay Thai, and they were like, there's no money in Muay Thai. And I was like, well, I need to make money. And they were like, well, you need to start training jiu-jitsu if you're going to fight MMA. And I kind of had like this natural no fear for fighting. So I just pursued MMA, and now I'm more focused on winning a black belt world title right now.
Where did the nickname come from? Because a lot of people probably assume you're from Texas.
It started in high school when I moved from Texas to Georgia. And it started out as Texas, and then the nickname shortened to Tex. And then just everybody started calling me Tex. And it's pretty much just how I'm known. Nobody really knows my real name. A lot of people don't.
You mentioned that martial arts was always something that you did as a kid. Your family was very involved in Taekwondo. You eventually led back towards Muay Thai and then eventually to Jiu-Jitsu. What made you really stick with Jiu-Jitsu? Because, like you said, you've had a diverse exposure to martial arts. What made you really, what drew you to Jiu-Jitsu?
I think a black belt world title is what I see as the most elite thing that you can do, in martial arts, in the gi. So, I mean, it's always been in my mind that to be a successful black belt, you have to win a world title.
A lot of MMA guys prefer no-gi training, but I know that you're very passionate about the gi. You really enjoy the gi game. What is it about the gi that you really like as opposed to just no-gi training?
The gi makes every aspect of your game better. Of course, no-gi helps tighten things up also, but I feel like the gi is really the purification of jiu-jitsu. It's I mean, honestly, I don't think there's actually no-gi jiu-jitsu. It's no-gi grappling. To do jiu-jitsu, there has to be a gi, in my opinion. Kind of like judo. I mean, you can call it no-gi judo, but I mean, I've talked to like guys like Chris Moriarty, and like you have to have the uniform on to be doing the martial art, in my opinion, and that's where it all started.
What do you think are some of the intricacies of rolling and grappling in a gi that you can't get benefit from in no gi? Is there anything in particular besides the grips and things like that? Is there anything in particular that the gi game does, in your opinion, that you completely lack in no gi?
Well, yeah, I mean, submission defense. Like, it's so easy to defend submissions in no-gi because you just slip out of everything. You can't slip out of an arm bar in the gi. It's not going to happen. And I think this is where a lot of these no-gi guys, you see some questionable no-gi guys winning in no-gi that when they come to the gi, they're flops. And again, I feel like that's because they neglect the gi game. And I feel like you have to be a practitioner of both. And with the rise of the heel hook guys are coming out now, and you see these guys like Gordon Ryan. He's a great guy and I respect him, but I beat him in the gi. And then you watched him against like a legit like gi guy like Philippe Penne, beat him in no gi. Because I'm sure it's because his game is more diverse because he trains both gi and no gi.
Let's talk about that, actually, because I know that you have really good heel hooks yourself. What's your opinion of the whole rise of the leg lock craze? Where do you think it initially came from, and what's your opinion of it from here out?
Oh, man. I mean, I was heel hooking black belts when I was a blue belt at Naga, so Steve Hedden was he was a good Sambo Japanese jiu-jitsu guy, who said attack the knee and people will tap, and people are scared of their knees getting ripped out. So they tap to him, and it's like, what's new? I mean, everybody talks to you about these heel hooks, and I'm like, this isn't new. So I don't really, I just don't know why anybody thinks it's something greater than it was. I mean, of course you've got, John Danaher, he's got his own system, but it's really old shit that he's bringing back up. And just the key is just constant training and using and knowing the ins and outs of the heel hook. If you're gonna be a heel hook guy, you have to know a way out and a way back in, so you don't get heel hooked yourself. So now you've got the honey hole coming up with Eddie Bravo and his game, and they've made a whole tournament EBI, which is, you know, the 10th Planet Guys' tournament, and they're trying to get the submission only thing going. But I find it something very wrong with submission grappling when it comes to submission only, that people will stall just so they don't get submitted. They won't attack, or they will wait for the overtime rounds to win, you know?
So they kind of hang out for the draw or for the escape rounds, like you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, you know, most, like, Tellis, his whole game plan, he said, I'm going to wait to get to the escape round and escape from the back. And then he got submitted. And it was like, well, that can't be your game plan, because then you are going to fight someone that's going to try and submit you.
You definitely see that. It's definitely an option. I think in every rule set, there's going to be things that are taken advantage of by people who are playing sort of by the rules. You know what I mean? Like when I say, you know what I mean?
Well, of course, the same thing like everybody says in the points game is because, well, everybody's going to stall until they can get the advantage or the point, because it's just that hard. Which, at least in the points, even with the advantage or the stalling, they're calling stalling more in IBJJF now. So, you know, the good thing about that is it's pushing fighters to fight more, and it's also giving a better perspective for people who watch IBJJF now, because it used to be real boring. They didn't call stalling as much. Now, I mean, when I was fighting Keenan, we were fighting for sweep in a tournament, and they called us for stalling in 50-50 just because of the position. So they'll push you now not to stall at these tournaments.
Yeah, I know you compete for the IBJJF a lot. Are there any rules within the IBJJF that you'd like to see changed? Are there any changes to the way that it's set up that you think would make it better?
No, I'm one of those people who I say, if you don't like the rules, don't compete in it. And like I said, that they're pushing people to fight more. They're doing great things for what they're doing. The one thing I would change is, like, the whole, if one guy at black belt's going to get tested, everybody needs to get tested. It's a fucking shame that, you know, the first place guy gets tested, he loses his medal, the second place guy gets it without getting drug tested. That's a shame, you know. But other than that, I don't really think there's anything wrong with IBJJF.
Sure, yeah. So in your opinion, the second place guy could just as easily be on something and then end up getting the medal anyway, is what you're saying?
For sure, yeah. Of course. But it's a sport to be legitimate and to say, oh, you know, we're gonna start drug testing now. We're legitimate. You have to drug test everybody. You can't just drug test one person and be like, oh yeah, you know, we're getting all the cheaters out. You don't know, because steroids don't make the matches. They don't make you win a match. I promise you.
How big of a problem do you think PEDs are in jiu-jitsu? Is it as major as they're making it sound?
What is your definition? Let me ask you a question. What's your definition of performance enhancing drug?
Well, I know that, you know, things like coffee and things like that can technically be under the same banner, but I'm talking like specifically like anabolic steroids.
I think everybody's going to use every supplement possible to get an edge. And if you're not trying, then why are you not trying hard enough? So I don't think it's as bad as everybody makes it sound. But I know a lot of people cycle on and off throughout the year. And that's just, it is what it is. It's a sport. It's been going on since the Olympics.
You're right. In any athletic endeavor, there's going to be people who are trying to get to that extra level, and it's, you know, it's just a part of athletics. And I think that a lot of people with jiu-jitsu, I guess it's because it's a martial art and because it's a I guess people think that martial arts would be exempt because there's a whole code of honor kind of deal within the martial arts mindset.
Who was the Gracie that got busted? There was a Gracie that got busted back in the original days.
Yeah, there was. I believe Hoist. It was Hoist. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Hoist. Oh yeah, we're the Gracie family. We're clean. Do the Gracie diet with steroids, right? Right, because we know that in Brazil you can go into a pharmacy and just buy steroids. So it's a cultural thing, I guess, because over here steroids have been frowned upon. But like for other cultures that can just go to the pharmacy and buy them, You know, a lot of guys don't remember like being able to go to GNC and buy steroids. You used to be able to go to GNC and buy a pro hormone that converted straight into testosterone or an you know, a steroidal effect.
I actually didn't even know that. They sold it straight out of GNC?
Yeah, well, they used to have this stuff when I was in high school called, it was by Civation, Cyfit, and it was called Get Hard Stack, and it was 19 norandrostenedione, and I didn't know what it was, and I, you know, seen people taking it in high school, and I was like, you know, what is it? And I started doing research. I was like, oh, this stuff converts purely to testosterone pretty much.
Wow, man, that's crazy. Now, let me ask you this: speaking of testosterone, what's your opinion on TRT? Because I know that there's a lot of people that have a really kind of just a misconception of what it is. They think it's like an anabolic steroid. What's your opinion?
It is. It is testosterone that you're getting replaced through a doctor. They're giving you injections, or you're taking them at home. So you're replacing the testosterone that your body's not making, and why people are taking it, either they had problems with steroid usage before and they've shut down their body from producing as much as they should, or they're just unhealthy people that don't produce, unhealthy males that don't produce enough testosterone. But it's very common with overtrained people. If you overtrain and you go see your doctor and get a blood test, you'll probably have below average testosterone. Your body, I don't know why it works like this, but when you're overtrained, your testosterone levels go down and your cortisol levels go up, and it's just it's a function of training and dieting sometimes, especially when you're cutting weight. So what a lot of fighters would do is they would overtrain, go see their doctor, get a blood test, and the doctor would be like, well, yeah, you're below average. And they would be like, you're an athlete, you need to be at this, you know, certain level. And I believe one time I talked to a chemist or biologist, and we were talking about testosterone, and he was like, elevated testosterone is elevated testosterone. Whether you have 700 nanograms per this, the receptors can only hold so much. Now, if you super saturate the receptors, it will not accept any more testosterone, from my understanding. So I don't feel that, you know, TRT is bad for the sport, and I don't feel like it's really doing everything that everybody thinks it is. It's not winning people world titles. People are recovering better. Yes, they need to recover better. But, I mean, now that, you know, people see it as like this, that, like you said, the code of honor and ethics, right, in jiu-jitsu. And I just feel like that's why people think it's so terrible.
Yeah. I think that it catches people by surprise, because people think of obviously like weightlifting and football and things like that with steroids, and so when it's in jiu-jitsu, people are like, oh man, well these guys are supposed to be like, you know, clean, and most of them are. I think most people in jiu-jitsu are. I think
so too. I actually, you know, I really think the most people who use steroids are like your common everyday man that just wants to look better and feel better for life.
Right.
Most guys taking steroids, I mean, that I know, can't afford TRT unless they're like high rolling, like BG. It's expensive to do TRT. I wouldn't even understand how you would afford it. You know, it's over $300 a month plus, you know, testing every so many months.
Yeah, you definitely have to be making pretty good money, and I think you're right. I think for a lot of people, like, you know, that when you see the classic roid users, it's usually guys that are you know, they're at the club, they just want to look, they want to look the part. You know what I mean?
Or the hobbyist jiu-jitsu guys that never win a world title, and they take steroids. You know?
Now, why do you think that is? Why do you think a hobbyist would do it?
Well, because, man, they want to. I mean, it makes them feel good, I'm sure, and you know, it makes them feel like they're going to get really good, but they don't understand they've lost the point of jiu-jitsu. The point of jiu-jitsu is to train and get good at the art. The extra muscle doesn't matter. It helps sometimes, but it's not gonna win you a tournament or a match that you're not supposed to win if you don't have the skill there.
Yeah, very well said. In fact, that's something you've said a couple times throughout the conversation here, is that it doesn't win you matches. And I think that's something really important for everyone to keep in mind, is that, yes, it helps you with recovery and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, man, if you have a guy that's not some super athlete but has incredible technique and incredible jiu-jitsu and he trains all the time, man, the other guy taking steroids is not going to make him lose. You know what I'm saying?
No,
So, yeah.
no, I mean, I just think it's this most uncommon, or this most common conception amongst people. It's a common thing where people think, well, I'm going to go out, I'm going to take steroids, and then I'm going to become a world champion. And this is an idea that I've never heard from any world champion, but I hear it from guys like hobbyists and guys that I would never think they could win a world title because they don't train enough anyways. The guys I see, I've trained with world champions. I've trained with Leon Nogueira, the Meows. I've trained with Earl Santana. I've trained with so many world champions. And the one thing that I notice in Cabrinha is more work ethic and the desire to win than anything will win. It's not a shot in your ass. It's not a pill. You can't take magical shit to make you win matches.
Speaking of some of the training partners you've had, you and I trained at the same place for a while at Alliance. You were there a lot longer than I was. What was your what do you think your biggest takeaway was from your time spent with Alliance? Because I know that you were exposed to Cabrinha, Jacare, Lucas Lepre. What was some of your biggest takeaways from your time spent at Alliance?
Man, they are who they are because they do not put one thing over the team goal. So the team goal is always to win tournaments like Worlds and Pan Ams, Europeans, the major tournaments, of course, Brasileiras. My takeaway is they have a great system. They know how to put their black belts in place. They have a huge association. I think if they didn't have the numbers, they wouldn't win every year. But since they have the numbers, they win every year.
Let me ask you this: you're with Unity now, so it's another great team that you're with now. What's it been like training at Unity under Professor Santana?
He's amazing. He hasn't tried to change me too much. Where I found one of the big things that the whole leg lock, straight ankle, toe hold, and stuff like that game was I guess kind of frowned upon at Alliance. They don't really show leg locks. You know this, if you can agree on that or not, right?
Yeah, sure. The Alliance, they mostly focus for IBJJF, yeah. Yeah,
so, but, I mean, straight ankle locks, toe holds, and Estima locks and all that are legal IBJJF. They just don't see them as – they don't like those techniques. They're more focused on the point game, I feel like, not the submission game, where, at Unity, it's system-based to either get to the back, get to the attack, omoplatas, triangles, whatever submission you want to get to. Not as much point-based. It's more aggressive, the system. So...
Interesting. What's it been like living in New York so far? Is that, I know that's your first time being up north, or living up north anyway, I think.
New York? Well, sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good.
I used to live in New York in one of my moves. I lived there when I was really young. I don't really remember it. But the North's okay, I don't like it more than the South, or I kind of actually do like it more than the South now that I think about it. It's definitely better for me up here. I get along better with people, I feel like. So for right now, it's where I need to be with Murillo. I mean, so in life, I think it's not always the most comfortable place in the world, but it's where I need to be to get my goal.
Honestly, man, I see you definitely getting along better up north, because I'm from up north too, and I know that your sense of humor, it would probably be taken much better by. I think you have a very sort of up north sense of humor, and also just the way you are, man. I think that you probably fit in pretty well up in New York. I would imagine that. Do you feel like you mesh with people better up there?
Actually, yeah, I do. I mean, but I miss some of the guys, down there. I really like the guys like Doc Rossi, Kodiak, and there's a lot of guys. I can't really, name everybody, but there was a lot of guys that I miss. So I do mesh a lot better up here. Of course, the end goal is to not be up here and start my own gym somewhere else, not in New York. But we're not gonna say where yet.
That's awesome, man. But you are thinking about opening up your own spot?
For sure, once everything gets taken care of and I get my goals achieved, I'm going to. We're planning on probably going out to New Mexico and starting something out there.
Oh, dude, that's awesome, man. Where in New Mexico are you guys looking at?
It would either be Las Cruces or what's it called? Mesilla.
Mesilla, nice. Are those far from Albuquerque?
No, they're actually 3-4 hours away from Albuquerque.
Man, that's awesome, dude. Yeah, the Southwest is such an awesome place, man. I think the desert is just such a cool. It's such a cool place, My little brother is actually moving out to Arizona at the end of the year. So I know that there's a lot of people moving out that way, man. I think the cost of living is supposed to be really good, and it's just a cool area of the country,
Yeah, cost of living's really good, and we got family out there, me and my wife, so it's going to be nice to be with the family, start a business out there, get my family over there too, and I really want to start a kind of like a jiu-jitsu utopia and hopefully affiliate, with Murillo and Unity, and, start a place where, have land out there. We have land out there that we can, house people and start a garden and just live off the land and pay our students, hopefully, to compete and just kind of do something and give back to jiu-jitsu and other people.
That's really awesome, man. So when you say a jiu-jitsu utopia, it sounds like you're talking about like you're going to have like a hostel out there, and you're going to have a way for people to actually stay there and eat off the land. Is that what you said?
Yeah, that's what I want.
Dude, that's awesome.
Like I said, gardens. I want goats. I want cows. That's going to be more my wife's stuff. She will take care of the animals. I'm going to be obviously running the gym and hopefully, flying people in that I want. Obviously Murillo's going to be down there all the time to do seminars and stuff. And, other guys like the Meow twins, hopefully, and whoever else, I think my guys can benefit from. Panza, that is another, he's a close friend of Murillo. So I want to stick to our, Cicero Costa, Barbosa, and the Unity guy, lineage at this point, because one of the things that I am is when I'm with the team, I'm loyal, and that's who I stick by.
That's awesome, and let's talk about that. Actually, that's a very common topic in jiu-jitsu, and that is gym loyalty. There's a lot of people who have different opinions, and I think that both sides have very valid points. Some people feel that gym loyalty comes down to how well you're treated as a teammate, how well the information you're receiving is being delivered, and some people are just hard-nosed, like, man, the first place you sign up is the place you should stay until you get your black belt, and if not, you're a Krianchi. What's your opinion on gym loyalty overall? Do you think that there are shades of gray, or do you see it more black and white?
I feel like, well, as a competitor, I feel like you can only have, like, as a samurai, you can only have one master. So my whole loyalty thing comes from something inside of me. I don't care what anybody else's preference is on it. But their opinion on, leaving a gym and being a Krianch there's no such thing as a Krianch. It was a made-up word or a word used for some soap opera character, I think, is what I've heard.
Yeah, that's correct.
So, normally the people who are the first person, like, to yell Krianch, are the first teams that they left somebody to start their own team. So, you've got the biggest, rivalry in Atlanta with Alliance and Travin, and they're both Krianches. So call it what it is.
There are a lot of lineages and factions in jiu-jitsu that we all came from somewhere. Everything came from somewhere. So yeah, that's an interesting point, man. What do you think? What do you think is a I guess you said you believe in sticking with the team. What do you feel is a good like a justifiable reason to leave a team? Like, do you think that there's anything that if someone's in like say a negative spot or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, totally. For one, you're not getting the attention that you need from the coach if you're a competitor. You're not getting the support. You're not celebrated. If you're just tolerated at a gym, just go ahead and just leave. Don't go back. If you're not, and I'm not saying that you have to be friends with your training partners, because that's not where I'm going with this. Like, you should be friendly and be able to, but you should have like the attention that you need for your goals. And if you're not a competitor, whatever it should be, your professor should be able to give you what you need. And if not, then you should leave. Always.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Let me ask you this, Tex. At what point did you get into MMA? You mentioned that you came up in Taekwondo. You eventually led to I believe you said Knuckle Up is where you first started. In fact, I remember one of your early fights at Wild Bill's. It's the one where you got cut over the eye and they stopped the fight even though you were winning.
Oh, Clint Hester fight.
Yeah. So tell us about your introduction to MMA and also your MMA career since then.
So I fought. I think it was two what were they? Two Muay Thai tournaments that I won both of them, and then I fought this guy named Rudolph Tutt in an MMA, like amateur MMA fight, and then I fought Uli Pol. You know Uli?
Yeah, Uli's the one that got me into Alliance, yes.
I fought Uli at Knuckle Up in an MMA fight. He almost knocked me unconscious, so I took him down and I think I choked him. I think I took his back and choked him. And I beat him, and then I went to Alabama and I took an unsanctioned fight because Steve Hedden wanted us to go up there and fight, so I took a fight. I knocked the guy out in like 10 seconds. It was some fat dude from Alabama. So after that fight, I was like, I really want to start making money doing this. So the commission was like, well, he doesn't have enough fights, amateurly. So I took one more amateur fight. Then Andy Foster at the time was the commissioner, good friends with Steve Hedden. They brought him in to spar with me. And after that, I got my pro card. So apparently that's how that worked. And then I fought Clint Hester, and I remember pulling guard on Clint, and I was gonna fly an armbar him. I had him remember I had the armbar position?
Yes.
I hadn't yet thrown my leg over, and I had him trapped, so I was like, well, screw it, I'll just elbow him. Well, here's the point. If you have an armbar, take the armbar. Elbowing somebody in the face just lets them know that they can elbow you too. So he had hence elbowed the shit out of me and cut me pretty bad. I think I got 14 stitches for that. And I didn't know any better, but I was all jacked up on pre-workout. So I don't know if there's a picture of me on top of Clint at the end of the fight because I knocked him out during the fight. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember there was some craziness at the end. I don't remember the exact details because this is going way back, but I do remember there was some craziness afterwards. Yeah.
So I knocked him unconscious, and I was hitting him. I didn't get knee on belly or mount or anything, and I was hitting him, and I woke him up, and he scrambled for an omoplata, and I was like, there's a picture of me leaning over him, and there's not a drip of blood coming in from my forehead. There's a stream of blood. It was pouring. And me and Steve was like, well, I'll super glue it shut. And they're like, you're not allowed to use super glue. And we're like, why not? And they're like, because it's not safe. And we're like, well, fuck it. We got to do something. I got to fight. And they're like, no, we're going to call the fight because it's over your eyes. And I was like, dude, I can see. I just knocked them out. I'm good. And they would not let me continue.
Yeah, that was crazy, man. I remember you were really disappointed. In fact, I came up and said something to you after the fight when you were sitting off to the side. Yeah, that was a crazy one, man. It's funny too because you're mentioning Clint Hester, who made it to the UFC eventually. You made it towards Bellator, so it's cool because there's a lot of people that were on the scene back then who have since gone to even bigger levels. How would you describe jumping from the local scene to Bellator? Was that a pretty significant jump in competition?
The thing about these elite like organizations is they have the money to make themselves seem elite regardless of the talent that they have. Their marketing, it's all marketing, like the UFC. They will market something regardless of how good it is. And the fighter, if it has that encouragement and marketing behind it, it'll win normally. It'll support it, right? So I feel like my fight in Bellator lasted 15 seconds, so I didn't really get to fill out the eliteness of it, I guess.
Yeah, I was just thinking, it's funny, as I was asking the question, I'm like, I wonder if he even was able to gauge that, because you got the fastest submission.
I mean, dude, I fought what was at the time, like, Bellator, like, pegged me to lose that fight. They're like, okay, we'll give the kid the fight. He'll lose, right? So I'm going into this fight. The guy's 5-0. I'm 14 and I think I was 14 and 5. And I was like, whatever, I had more losses than that kid had ever fought in his life, in his career. So I was like, whatever, I'll take it. And I just went in there and I just wanted to give them, a shocking win, and I did. And then they started handing me like bullshit fights. They didn't really they weren't really I don't think they wanted to you ever seen how certain organizations will groom people, let them take I guess we call them tomato can fights?
Sure. Yeah, like tune-up fights, yeah.
Yeah, so they let them tune up and then get into who they are, but they didn't want to do that with me. So it didn't work out.
Why do you think that was?
I don't kiss ass. Or maybe I'm not marketable to them, but who knows? I never got an answer. I'm still having questions of why I'm the only fucking MMA fighter in the state of Georgia to ever drug test it, and my opponent would not take a drug test because he said he would fail for opioids and other shit, but yet I still had to take a drug test.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. You would think that someone that has the record for fastest submission would definitely get some grooming. They definitely want to bring you back and keep you on the scene. But yeah, it's really weird, man. Well, Tex, I'll tell you what, man. If you don't mind, let's take a quick commercial break and then we'll come right back after this message. Okay?
Yep.
This episode of the Grappling Central podcast is brought to you by Kettlebell Kings, the leading online source for kettlebells with free shipping in the continental United States and Canada. As you've heard in recent conversations on the podcast, kettlebells are becoming one of the most important tools for grapplers due to the dynamic nature of the movements used and the unique combination of strength and cardio exercise you get when you use them. Kettlebell Kings is not only the leading online source for kettlebells, but they are working really hard to put out high-quality content in the way of training videos and specific exercises for grapplers. They offer the best quality and the largest selection of kettlebells anywhere online, from cast iron, steel, adjustable, and different options for price, durability, and aesthetics. And they back their entire product lineup with a lifetime warranty. They also have a fantastic customer service department, and they are a Google-trusted store. Whether your goals are grappling-specific training, overall functional fitness, or bodybuilding, Kettlebell Kings has something for you. They offer free shipping in the continental United States and to Canada, and the shipping is really fast. It's typically 3 to 5 business days, and if you order before 5 p.m. Central, your shipment goes out the same day. They have an excellent YouTube channel with over 100 videos showing different exercises. Type Kettlebell Kings in YouTube and their channel will pop right up. Be sure to subscribe. But for my listeners, we have our very own portal for content specifically designed for grapplers. They will be constantly adding new videos and blog posts exclusively designed to teach you ways to use kettlebells to get the best out of your jiu-jitsu and grappling game for free. To get this free content, go to kettlebellkings.com/grappling, then enter your email and click subscribe. They'll send you new content every week catered to making your grappling greater by implementing kettlebell routines. Support companies that support grappling. Don't buy a kettlebell from some retail store when you can buy the very best quality available with a lifetime warranty and then have it quickly shipped to your door for free. Go to kettlebellkings.com and take your training to the next level now. Hey guys, I'm incredibly excited to announce our new sponsor, the BJJ Box. You may remember them when they sponsored the show early last year. Well, they are back and under new management. In fact, I am joined right now by the new owner. You may recognize him as a past guest on the show, the head of Jiu-Jitsu Magazine, Professor Mike Velez. Mike, what kind of changes to the BJJ Box can people expect now that you're the new owner?
Hey Ryan, thanks for asking. One of the main points of feedback we got from a lot of subscribers from the other boxes was that they weren't feeling like they were getting as much value as they should have. So basically, we instituted a double your money type rule. Every box going forward will have at least no less than $50 worth of product. So it's $24.99 times that by 2 and you're over 50. So every box will have over $50 worth of brand name products. There's a VIP box that's an extra $10 and we double that as well. So that one will come with at least $70 worth of product. For those of you that don't want to spend that much every month but you like cool t-shirts, we've got just the shirt, which is only $14.99, and it's also got a reduced shipping rate too. So that's a really easy way to get some cool gear at a huge discount every month.
Thank you, Mike. Guys, this is going to be an incredible service that sends a box to your door every month packed with items to help you along the way in your training and that let you represent the jiu-jitsu lifestyle. Every box comes with an apparel item, usually a t-shirt, training aids, something that helps you with recovery or injury prevention, a hygiene product, surprise items, discount codes, and more. This is a great way to sample products before you decide to purchase them on a regular basis. And it's incredibly fun to see a box at your doorstep every month knowing that it's going to be loaded with stuff that's very valuable to your training. It's a monthly subscription, but you can cancel at any time. The box ships out on the 23rd of the month. You're charged when you sign up, and then it renews again on the 1st of each month. It's set up so that you always receive a box before the second charge takes place. Give it a try and use the coupon code GCP20 to get 20% off your first box. Only $20 to try it, plus shipping and handling, and if you like it, which I know you will, it's only $24.99 a month after that. That's only $24.99 a month to receive $50 worth of products every month. Currently, the box is only available in the US, but international options are coming soon. Head over to thebjjbox.com, use the coupon code GCP20, and start receiving a $50 value of awesome jiu-jitsu products at your doorstep every month. That's thebjjbox.com. Once again, this episode of the Grappling Central podcast is brought to you by Leao Optics, handmade bamboo sunglasses crafted with the BJJ style. Summer's upon us, everybody, and you need a fresh pair of sunglasses for when you're out in the sun. Represent the jiu-jitsu lifestyle and keep your money in the jiu-jitsu community by picking up a pair of Leao Optics bamboo sunglasses. They have several different styles to choose from. I personally own a pair of the Suavecitos and the Gatos, and I absolutely love them. I wear them everywhere. They're also releasing a brand new style this month called the Copas. They're really nice. Be sure to head over to LeaoOptics.com to check them out. Because the frames on all Leao Optics sunglasses are handcrafted from bamboo, each pair is unique and they're all very lightweight. The UV 400 lenses are polarized, scratch resistant, and very comfortable to use. They're also hand painted, and for a small extra fee, they'll even paint your belt rank on the side of the frame. They come with a nice microfiber bag to keep them safe in your pocket, and they also have an awesome bamboo hard case to store them in at home. And for you folks out there that like to spend your weekends at the beach or at the lake, you'll never lose them in the water because they float. They offer free shipping anywhere in the United States, but even if you live internationally, the shipping really isn't that bad because of the lightweight bamboo design. Also, because the owners are so cool, they offer a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you don't like them, send them back. They'll refund your money completely. They also have a 90-day manufacturer's warranty and a 180-day oh-no plan, which means if you break them within 180 days, they'll send you a new pair for 40% off. Leao Optics has been the longest-running sponsor of the podcast. Without their support early on, there wouldn't be a Grappling Central podcast. Show them how much you appreciate that and treat yourself as well by picking up a pair of your own. Check them out at LeaoOptics.com and be sure to use the coupon code GRAPPLING15 to get 15% off your order. Leao Optics. Pride, honor, lifestyle. And we are back. Thank you guys for staying tuned in. Tex, one thing I meant to ask you earlier when we were talking about Unity, what's it been like training with the Meow Brothers, man? That must be a pretty awesome training sessions that you get in with those guys.
So I don't get to train with Joao so much because he's a little smaller, but I get a lot of learning in with Paulo. It's man. So when I first got here, meeting Joao and Paulo, they were really recluse, and I understand they're very all about their training. That's cool, but now, me and Paulo, I consider him like my friend and family now. We talk, I joke around with him when he gets my jokes. I have bad humor anyways. So
you have up north humor, buddy.
Yeah, I try and crack jokes, keep it light sometimes. And but other than that, man, it is an ass whooping and fun to train with both the twins. Both of them, they have this certain thing about them that I remember training with Paulo one time, and he wanted to finish something so badly, and he finished it, of course, on me. And I just remember thinking, like, that's what I want to be like. So, things that, I believe in is why I've always tried to train with guys like Lucas Lepre, Jacare, Leo Guerra, Cabrinha, the Meow Twins, and Murillo Santana is I don't have to be number one in the world, but I have to chase after them every day. So I know what they're doing, and I can see how to push myself better.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, like we've said, you've had some exposure to some incredible training partners, and it's obviously paid in dividends because you've won multiple titles and you've done very well in competition. It's funny you mentioned the Meow brothers. They're very kind of introverted guys. They're very obsessed with just training, and I've had a lot of people send me just message me like, "Man, you got to get the Meows on the show," and I'm like, "Man, I love those guys. I just don't think I could get an hour out of them." You know what I mean? Like, I think that 5 minutes away from the mats, they'd get withdrawals and have to leave.
I guess, when they had time to talk, they would, but yeah, I mean, it's all about, it's like if you're, I guess I'm breaking a cardinal rule. If you're not training jiu-jitsu, you should be watching jiu-jitsu. If you're not watching jiu-jitsu, you should be talking jiu-jitsu. And Murillo has this great quote that he asks people, this great question. He'll ask you, how many hours a day do you train? Ryan, how many hours a day do you train?
Right now I'm injured, so I've been out for a month, but usually I would do a few hours a day.
So you're wrong, because you train 24 hours a day, whether it's recovery, resting, or whatever. Even if you're going to go drink a beer, that's part of your training. And you'll get the results from that you deserve. Right?
I love that.
So you train 24 hours a day.
That's awesome, dude. That's a powerful quote, man. I really like that. That's something Murillo told you guys?
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, he asked me one day, he's like, Tex, how many hours do you train a day? I was like, I train once a day, 5 hours a day, 6 hours, depending on what pro training is. And he goes, no. And then he walked over to somebody else, asked them, and then he's like, no, you guys, you train 24 hours a day. Regardless if it's resting is a part of training. I think a lot of athletes forget this, so people have to remember that everything you do is a part of your training for your goal.
That's awesome, and I really like that. Speaking of extra stuff that you do for your training, I know that strength and conditioning is something really important to you. You're a very athletic guy on top of being very skilled on the mats. What do you typically do outside of your actual jiu-jitsu training when it comes to your physicality, when it comes to your strength and conditioning? Are there any particular drills that you found to be really relevant for jiu-jitsu?
This is gonna I'll let you know. I don't do strength and conditioning anymore. I just purely do jiu-jitsu of drilling and pro training.
Really?
I don't lift weights anymore.
Really? What made you stop doing that?
Injuries. Being so beaten down from pro training that my central nervous system just couldn't take it.
Wow. Yeah, it's funny. That's exactly what I'm going through right now. I injured my shoulder doing some benching, and I have an MRI on Wednesday, and it's precisely why I've been out for over a month now, because I was trying to work in weight training along with my jiu-jitsu, and I'm paying the price for it now. So I can completely understand where you're coming from. I know obviously you were probably lifting way more than I do, and you've been doing that for a long time. So it's interesting to hear someone like yourself say that, because I think a lot of people assume that, okay, well, if I'm going to be a high-level athlete, I have to be doing all these things. But you feel like just focusing exclusively on jiu-jitsu has been the best for you now?
Yeah, I mean, because I think, I don't remember which Mendez brother it was that was talking. They were asking him about strength and conditioning. He's like, I don't do strength and conditioning. He's like, I wake up, I drill, I spar for, 2-3 hours. I go home, I eat, I rest, and I go to my next training session, and then I go home, eat, rest, and then I go to my next training session. And I heard that, and I was like, yeah, I mean, that sounds right. There's strength, like in my opinion, there's strength and conditioning in jiu-jitsu, and moving people, and in also doing all the movements. You're moving people, so that's part of your strength, and then the conditioning, the actual training at a hard pace. So I haven't seen any lack in strength. If there was I just won the ultra heavyweight division at the New York Open, so I haven't lost any strength.
Yeah, you don't feel like you've lost anything since stopping weights?
No. Like I said, I haven't lost any strength. I just won the ultra heavyweight division, and I was way underweight. I don't feel like anybody manhandles me in the gym at Unity, and I train with probably one of the best, the best big purple belts in the world, Devontae Johnson. Bones. He's one of the God-gifted athletes of this world. He's amazing, and I don't feel overpowered. I don't feel he's amazing in technique more than anything.
Now, Tex, I saw a video the other day of you playing with some kind of grip strengthening thing. You had like a rubber thing on your hand. What was that? Because I know that grip strength is something very, very important in jiu-jitsu. I know that you have a shit ton of it because you've grabbed my lapel before. So what exactly are you doing with your grip strength? What was that thing you were playing with?
It's instead of contracting, because we contract all the time in jiu-jitsu, there's other muscles that need to be worked to take out imbalances in the muscles. I don't even know what it's called. Somebody bought it for me, and I've just been using it from time to time to see if I can get any imbalances out. But my hands still hurt, and I've honestly stopped taping my fingers. Like yesterday, I didn't tape my fingers even because sometimes taping hurts my fingers, so I have to just be careful, what I'm doing with my joints and ligaments.
Something that I wish I started doing sooner. I tape my hands a lot now, but with taping your hands, what kind of benefits and drawbacks have you had from that? You said sometimes you hurt your hands when you tape them. Yeah.
Because what I think is anytime you brace the ligament or tendon, they get weaker. Just like people who wear knee braces too much, and then their knee gives out on them when they stop wearing it. You definitely create imbalances. The muscle starts getting weaker through wearing these things. But I definitely, when I compete, I always put on my monkey tape, my sponsor. I'll wear it. I got a pinky injury. I don't know how it happened, but when I was fighting Andre Galval at it was Pan Am's Absolute, my second match, my finger popped my pinky somehow, and now I've had to tape that now every day.
Wow, that's it's funny that my pinkies are actually my two fingers. I feel like are going right now. I don't know what the deal is with them. I can't think of how I'm really even using them. I guess it's when I guess they're just getting stuffed up in the collar when I'm going for collar chokes and stuff. Yeah, my pinkies are sore as shit after training. I don't know what that's about.
Yeah, so I like to tape. So I tape my pinky on my left hand, and I just tape my two middle, my index and my middle finger, on the fingertips. I don't know why, but it makes me feel like I can grip a little bit better on my fingertips. I don't like to tape the knuckles unless it hurts or it feels loose.
Interesting. Tex, let me ask you this, man. You've become a really reputable black belt, and I know that jiu-jitsu, as you know, is an art that's constantly evolving, and it's almost like you can't master everything in one lifetime. As a black belt, what are some areas of your game that you're trying to improve currently?
Honestly, just guard retention and getting into submissions from guard retention, and definitely my leg lock game is getting a lot better. I'm working my fit-ins and not getting my guard passed from working leg locks. I think a lot of guys, when I used to fight, I would get my back taken sometimes when I would go for leg locks. I didn't know where to transition sometimes, so I'm just working the transitions, getting to the back more, finishing the game, some berimbolo stuff.
Nice. Now you've defeated some really impressive names in your competition career. You've defeated guys like Daniel O'Brien and Gordon Ryan, Gibson Saw, Davi Ramos. What do you think has been some of the biggest realization that you've had since competing at the elite level? Has there been any groundbreaking realizations that you've had once you've gotten up to that upper echelon of grappling?
Yeah, they're not myths, they're not legends, they're just people. There's I mean, and the reason why they're good is just because they put the time on the mat, and it's going to be hard to beat somebody who's got more time on the mat than you. So, I think I've been training jiu-jitsu for like 8 years maybe. So, maybe longer. But it wasn't that long. I think I started, so I'm 31 now, and I started when I was 23. Now that I think about it, I might not even know when I started training.
I was going to say 8 years sounds like, I feel like I've known you for 8 years. So
yeah, because I was at Alliance for 6 years. I was a brown belt for 6.
Yeah, so you've been around longer than that.
All right, so yeah. But I just think timing on the mat is the most important thing.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, I like what you said there too. You said that that at the end of the day, when you get up against these elite guys, these guys that a lot of people idolize and try to emulate and look up to, at the end of the day, they're just people, like you said. And I think a lot of people tend to get starstruck. They tend to look at their opponent when they reach that level, like, oh my God, this is like a god of jiu-jitsu, man. I'm up against this legend here. I like the way that you said that you try to humanize people, because at the end of the day, they are people. Do you think that that's something a lot of people have a hard time doing when they reach that level?
Yeah, I mean, they're scared. My second match in my division at Pan Am's was Herba Santos. And I got DQ'd. Apparently I was reaping his knee. I don't think I did. My hips were coming around on the toe hold or the knee bar, and they DQ'd me. But the one thing that, if you're fighting somebody that's aggressive, sometimes it's good just to get in their face and just be aggressive back to them, because it'll take them by surprise. They're not used to it. So that was the one thing that I knew I had to do when I fought him, was to make sure I was way more aggressive than he was, because you can't let him get in. So one of the things that Murillo says is be first and be aggressive, but be respectful. So I just knew I had to do my game before him. And that's also what helps people win in jiu-jitsu, is being able to get to their playbook before the other guy can.
Interesting. I like what you said there about the application of aggression as well. What do you think is the kind of the fine line of asserting yourself and using a proper dose of aggression without making it over the top and disrespectful?
There's like, especially in a tournament, there's no line. I mean, of course, you can't punch the guy, or you can't, like grab his hair. You can't do dumb shit. But there's no line in a competition. You're going there to submit the guy. It is their job to tap. It's not my job to not tap you. So I feel like I don't really think there is a line. Shit's gonna happen. Like, so. People get headbutted sometimes in competition, just be respectful to the other guy, and I feel like he'll be respectful back. Like I said, when I kicked Leo in the face on accident, because he's trying to pass my guard, I'm trying to lace my foot back in front of his shoulder, and his head got in the way. it's not my fault. I really shouldn't apologize for it. But, you know, I was being respectful, but things like that are going to happen, you know?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. I mean, it's a physical sport. It's a physical activity. Naturally, you're going to get bumps and bruises. You're going to have little incidents like that happen. What do you think is? You mentioned that you apologized, but you didn't feel like you really needed to. Do you feel like sometimes people overdo the apologizing and the obviously, like if say you and I are rolling and I try to pass your guard and your knee comes up and I bash my own face into your knee? Well, obviously, it's immediately understood. Okay, I just bashed my own face into Tex's knee. It wasn't his. Yeah. He didn't do anything. But do you feel like there's a lot of people that will stop a roll and be like, "Oh, dude, you sorry, you okay?" Do you feel like that hinders a roll?
Yeah, no, it does. I it's one of those things. It's one of my pet peeves. Like when people are just apologizing. Like my neck popped yesterday, and my hands were going numb, and I was like, "Oh man, my neck." And my partner, like, he apologized. I was like, "It's not your fault. It is what it is. It's just keep going. It doesn't matter." I mean, I can stop training because I'm injured now, but I'm not going to. I'm going to keep training, but it's just that situation where, like, there's no need for apologizing normally. Now, if I feel like I did something that was like over dickheadedness to one of my training partners, I'll apologize. And that's just it. I don't want to be a dick to my training partners, but that's the only thing. Like, I mean, I hate injuries, like injuring people when it happens. It unsettles me on the inside. So.
Yeah, no, that's understandable. Tex, what would you say are the goals for the rest of the year, man? Do you have any big goals? Obviously, Worlds is coming up. Anything else besides Worlds coming up that are some of your big 2017 goals?
So yeah, I mean, I've got Worlds. I've got Fight to Win in Atlanta against Khalifa Oliveira. What's his name?
Khalifa Oliveira. Yeah, nice. That'll be a good match.
Oliveira at 225. I'm going to try and get on some more Fight to Wins. After that, probably Philly and New Jersey. And then those will be mostly no-gi. And then, obviously, I have no-gi Worlds. I have no-gi Pan Ams. I have the New York Open coming up soon. I definitely want to start doing more seminars. I'm playing around with the new spider guard that I'm working. I don't know if it's new. I'm not going to say I invented anything, but a new kind of spider guard that I like. A lot of people are playing spider guard a certain way that I'm trying to play it a different way, and I want to start working with that more and more and drill it, and then start maybe using it in a competition so people know. But I definitely want to get knowledge out there. I want to start teaching some seminars for competition training or workshops for guard retention, or whatever, whatever works, my leg lock game and system that I like. If anybody wants that, you can contact me at texjohnsonbjj@gmail.com or text0401@gmail.com. Just to let everybody know.
Well, folks, unfortunately, we're fresh out of time. Tex, man, I really appreciate your time today, buddy. I know I just saw you at the Atlanta Open, so it hasn't been too long since we've spoke, but it was great having you here again and talking to you about your journey and your competition career, and I appreciate all the insight, man. I'd love to have you back again sometime.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And for anyone that wants to keep up with Tex, it's easy to do so. He's active on Facebook, so you can follow him there. He's also on Instagram at TexJohnsonBJJ. And like he said, if you guys want to bring him out for seminars, man, he's an excellent black belt. He puts on really good seminars. Text0401@gmail.com. That's a great place to get in touch with him to get him booked for a seminar. I highly recommend it. And Tex, I appreciate your time once more, buddy.
Thank you again, Ryan.
And that's going to do it for this episode, everybody. I really appreciate you tuning in. Please stay tuned for the next episode of the Grappling Central Podcast.